Alright, hi.
Hey.
I'm Darcy.
I'm Aldi.
And this is the Darcidoesit Knitting Podcast. This is episode 8. We're up to 8 episodes.
We're moving along.
Yeah, we gotta be consistent. So, my name is Darcy. I'm a speech pathologist. I live in St. Louis, Missouri with my husband, Arthur, who's an occupational therapist. And we talk about all my knitting and my spinning and all of my fiber stuff. You can find all of the information about the stuff we talk about in the description. I painstakingly rewatch every episode to try and make sure I don't leave anything out. So you can check there for all the details. You can also find me on Instagram at Darcidoesit, where I post more regularly, a lot of updates about what I'm knitting, what I'm feeling, what I'm thinking. So yeah, you can find me there, Darcidoesit.
Check it out.
What's new since last time?
Well, we can just pull the band-aid off and you can tell them about how I almost lost the adapter for your machine.
Okay, so there is a magnificent creation that is a spinning, not spinning, it's a
Winder?
ball winder, electric ball winder. Now, this is probably one of my most prized possessions because I only have so much time on this earth, right? And the more time I spend taking yarn into balls, the less time I have to actually enjoy my life, enjoy the knitting, the spinning, all the stuff I like, eating the good stuff. So I got this yarn ball winder as a gift from a really kind, thoughtful person who is also invested in making my life easier. And I keep it, back here, back there. You can see my cabinet, and I keep it on top of that. It's like the crowning glory, if you will. And it comes with a few different cords that power it. So there's like the adapter with the switch to control how fast or slow it goes. And then there's like the AC adapter part where it hooks into that and then charges, or not charges, but it like powers the whole device. So we bought this Dyson air purifier, humidifier, formaldehyde thing. Anyway, it was like $1,000 after tax. And we have a house that was built in 1925. So it's pretty old. It still has radiators. We have radiant heat, and we like the radiant heat, but it gets really dry in the winter. So we were like, we need to invest in, a way to keep our, bodies moisturized, the air purified, all that. So we were like, okay, we have a Dyson vacuum that we love. We have a Dyson fan that we love. Why wouldn't we love this Dyson air purifier humidifier thing? So the thing that there isn't to love about the humidifier, and I'll eventually get back to the ball winder, but this is essential to understand. The Dyson only humidifies with the fan on. So if it's winter and you're trying to heat a house, you don't want to be cooling it off by trying to have the fan going and humidifying. It's also very noisy.
Really noisy. Very
noisy. And you can't run the humidifier without the fan. So like the strength of the fan is also the strength of the humidification, if you will. So, and it's not mist, it's invisible vapor, which also, we have a
humidity gauge,
like a little gauge, and you can see our gauge here. We'd have it running for like 5 or 6 hours. It would increase in like 1 or 2%. So definitely not the machine that we were hoping for, especially for our investment. $1,000 is a lot of money for us. So we were like, we're gonna return it.
It came in a big box with a lot of packaging, a lot of miscellaneous pieces.
Well, it had a lot of cardboard, kind of configurations to make everything fit. I liked that it wasn't styrofoam. That was good.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't, it wouldn't go back in the box without like some expert, box packing expertise.
Yeah, so I put in some other bags.
So I come home from work on Friday. Artie picks me up, and he's like, I returned the Dyson. I was like, oh, thanks, babe. You're on it. Like, you're great. And I hate taking stuff back to stores. I just want to be sure. I want to read the reviews, make sure it's something I'm going to actually like. I'm not going to want to return. That's the kind of shopper I am. I'm not just going to buy all kinds of stuff and think like, oh, I'm going to return half of this and just really see what I like. I only want to buy what I'm going to keep. So it's a big mental hurdle for me to think about returning something. But that's why Artie, I know you're not yawning in this story.
I always yawn on your podcast. Someday.
But this is about you.
Yeah.
This is you're the main character. You're the protagonist in this story.
Yeah, I'm telling it too.
So, Artie says he returned it. I'm like, great. I come up, to our apartment, hanging out, put my feet up. I'm talking to my friend Morgan, and we, are knitting on FaceTime, and I look over and I see that the charger, the plug for the Dyson, is still plugged into the wall. I said, oh, babe, you forgot to return the plug. And he said, no, I returned it.
I put some adapter in there.
I said, well, the one that says Dyson right there, it's still in the wall. And he was like, oh, no, I put the black one. And I felt like a flash of rage flow through me, because at that point I realized what had happened. Artie took the plug. Where is it at? Is it even where? I won't even show it to you. They don't look anything alike. They're different colors. The one that's Dyson says Dyson.
Yeah. I didn't set up the Dyson though, so I didn't know what it looked like.
He didn't set it up, but he did unplug it. But then he was, trying to pack all that stuff back in the box, and then he just was like, oh, plug. Okay, I'll take this one. So it got taken back to Best Buy, or not taken back, but taken to Best Buy.
I returned it with the box, yeah.
So, in the moment I'm realizing this, I feel the heat flushing over me.
9 o'clock at night, and
I can feel the anger, and I'm like, this is it. Like, this is the moment that I lose it. And Morgan says to me, but Darcy, he's your missing piece. If you ever read The Missing Piece, like the children's book where, the little, basically like Pac-Man is like rolling along in life, and it's like finding all these other pieces that are not theirs, which totally happened to me before I met Artie. He's my missing piece. And she said that to me, and that just kind of like helped to diffuse the rage.
Thanks, Morgan.
Morgan saved your life. So I was like, it was an accident. It was not, Artie wasn't doing this to hurt my yarn. It wasn't malicious, and he's my missing piece.
Yeah. We could have always gotten a new adapter, and well, long story short, I go back to Best Buy the next day, and the lady I speak to was like, oh boy. And I tell her what happened. Oh, I said, I put the wrong adapter in there for something else that's really important, but I have the Dyson adapter. And she said, oh boy, I don't know if this is still here. She's like, I'll be right back. Let me go check in the back. And
you saved her life too.
Yeah, 2 minutes later, she comes back with it. Told her it was in a Schnucks bag. I packed it separately. So that was even more reason for it to get lost.
This is coffee with condensed milk.
It's good. So I brought it back.
He saved the day.
I created my own problem, and then I was the hero.
So Artie was the hero and the villain in this story. But I did get it back. I am hoping to use it today to cake up some yarn for some projects that I'm hoping to begin. Because I have just been knitting sleeves, y'all. Like the sleeves. Wait, let me close the blinds because I'm getting a little. Okay, perfect. So the sleeve mission has been so successful. As you can see, I am wearing my Kinsan sweater, And this is a sweater from the book Moon and Turtle. This book. And it is by Kiyomi and Sachiko Burgin. And they are Japanese-Canadian knitwear designers. And this is the Cordy sweater. It's this like, no, this isn't Cordy. Cordy's the one on the front. This one with all the color work, that one is Cordy. This one that I have on is Kinsan. So this was a book that was made by Pom Pom. And they show a lot of different color combinations and pattern stripe suggestions for this sweater. So I used, and I talked a lot about the details. I actually hadn't even started this yet when I started the podcast. So you can actually go back to the inception of this sweater where I just only had the swatch to show. So this is a top-down raglan. You knit on the, what is this part called?
Collar?
The collar. Thank you. See, you know.
See, I know terms.
You knit on the collar afterwards. So you start, you cast on at the back and you do some short rows, and then, or maybe that's not how it works. You do some short rows to raise the back. The back is definitely higher than the front. And then you mark these raglan increases. So a raglan, so this is a good example. So a raglan is a style of sweater where there's like a demarcation between the arms and the body, or on the yoke. So like the shirt that Artie's wearing, this will be called a drop shoulder because you have like a square here. So your shirt was joined here and then this was sewn on separately, where mine is like a smooth, like all in one piece kind of design. So that's how this sweater goes. I chose to do in my repeats a 6-row block of the main color, which is called Virgo by Haystack Yarns. And then I used 3 contrast colors. So if you think about the calculations, the main color is just about 50% of what you knit, a little bit more because I did the main color for all the ribbing also. But when you look at the sweater, like these weren't colors I would have usually put together. But I had single skeins of all of these, and I still have a lot left of each of the contrast colors. So this blue one is a Dream and Color yarn that I got as a gift from someone. The pink is at Haynes' house, Cherry Blossom. That was from the Mulan collection that I did. And then this yellow, I don't remember who this is from. It was something that I got as a closeout on sale at a yarn store. So that is how this sweater went. So I'm going to give some more details about the size that I made and the needles I used, modifications, all that in a separate video for a pattern review. So if you're interested in more details on this sweater, please leave me a comment and tell me that you want me to review this pattern, and also say what information you want. I do my absolute best to read. I do read every comment. I'm not always able to reply to every comment. So if you're saying something in a comment, I want to hear it, and unless you're being nasty, then I want to hear that. But if you have something nice to say, or you want to know more about what I'm knitting, leave me a comment. This pattern is a unisex pattern. I believe all the patterns from this book are unisex, and I am planning on making a sweater for Artie. The previous sweater I made for him, it does need sweater surgery, so I'll probably do some videos on that because I haven't done that before, and I'm kind of a little bit scared to cut up a sweater,
Yeah.
It's kind of scary.
I gotta say something.
Go ahead. Tell me what you
doing this podcast with you. And maybe I said this before, I don't remember, but I appreciate what you do.
You do?
Yeah, because I get to hear, the backstory, and I get to learn about things like raglans and swarths.
Don't bring up that damn okay. So if you saw the last episode, Artie was talking about this swarth. It's a cowl that I knit, and I was talking about doing a pattern tutorial and maybe a paid version of the pattern. I'm definitely gonna do a YouTube tutorial, and then I'll probably do a paid PDF if you would like a version of that. Check out my last episode where I show that that cowl. so that you can see it. It doesn't have a name right now, but people are talking about swarth as the actual name. Don't shake your head at that. We're not encouraging it. But I did pick out the yarn that I'm going to use for the one that I'm going to make in the tutorial. And I'll show those now. So these are the 2 yarns that I picked for the next version of the swarth. So I'll include a picture of what I'm talking about just so you can see it and know, kind of get an idea of what's going to happen. So this is from Serendipitous Wool Co. and it's called Seafoam Dance, and you can see
that's a good name for
that it is like
all the ocean names.
Aqua with some fuchsia. Come on, use your colors, babe. This is a good time for vocabulary. Yeah. I teach so much
purple,
vocabulary. No.
Green.
No. We need some more complex color words, like some shades. So
light blue.
There's a seafoam for sure. That's the main color, and then we got some fuchsia or magenta here on this side, and some kind of yellow green here. Spot, are you okay?
Spot's killing her mouse.
Spot has her mouse toy, and she's meowing. So
she keeps slicing the tail off of all the mice.
The second one, she took the tail off. So it's gonna be, so this held double with this beautiful scheme. This is called For God's Sake, Give More Power to the People. And this is from Ein at Passionate. This is a beautiful variegated yarn. It is purple, blue, green. It has pink, orange, yellow, speckles. It's got pretty much every color of the rainbow. And I think this is going to be especially beautiful held together with this. So I like pairing yarns that maybe don't necessarily have completely complementary colors. So there will be some contrast, but there is some blue and like lighter tones. So this will be what I'll be using for the next one that I make that I'll record and post on YouTube. So this I think came from the Kwanzaa Advent? Kwanzaa, you remember?
The Kwanzaa collection.
I also showed this previously on YouTube in a previous podcast. So I did decide to use it for a project. So these will be coming up soon. And now that I showed those are gonna get wound up. Okay, so I skip it around a little bit, but I want to show the other finished objects that I finished since the last podcast, and it's been just about 2 weeks since the last one. I did finish my Mauna hat.
This is nice.
This is nice. You want to touch it?
Yeah.
How's it feel?
Very soft.
Give me some more details.
Mushy.
No, it's like supple.
Fluffy.
Okay, fluffy. Okay, can you model it for us?
Yeah.
So this hat is from Layla Raven, and it's a colorwork hat designed with, you gotta turn to the side, with a Latvian braid on the side. And this is with some, I think the name of the company is Brookfield or Brookdale. My dear friend Alicia bought this yarn for me as a gift, and then I have paired it with some handspun yarn that I got from Passionate. And overall, you can see that jog a little bit here where the row begins. It hasn't been blocked yet. I think that would be less noticeable once I block it, but I want to show it, you know, in its like actual off the needles form before I block it. This sweater has also not been blocked. I'm just blocking it with body heat right now. So that's how I usually block things the first time, just with some body heat. And then you really can't see the details in the pattern design too much. So I'm gonna definitely do another one. I do love this hat. I've been wearing it.
It's a great hat.
I have half of mine to line it with some like satin from maybe like an old shirt or something that is thrifted that I don't use anymore, just to protect my hair some more. And also with sister locks, which is what the name of this hairstyle I have. It's basically locks, but they're just tiny. And the installation method, the technique is trademarked by some very smart person.
Oh wow.
A black woman. And you have to basically get trained by her to be able to put the name Sister Locks on what the style is that you make. Yeah.
Nice.
So,
it's like a special like massage technique or something like that.
Yes, it's exactly like that. So it's trademarked.
Awesome.
And basically the whole thing about the Sister Locks, and you can't see real good right now, but there's like a grid. You can see like my hair is parted into like little squares. So basically, because they're tiny, tiny locks that you can style like loose hair, you can get a lot of lint trapped in them. And once that lint is in there, you have to like pull it out individually. It's just easier to keep it out than to try to pull it out, or to try to be doing, you know, treatments, or what do they call, like detoxes, where you have to like soak your hair. Nobody wants to do that. So I do sleep with a bonnet on just to keep, you know, most lint stuff out, but I'm considering lining all my hats with satin just to get another layer of protection from.
It's a good idea.
My knitwear stuff getting into my hair and then becoming a permanent part of my hair. Right. What do you mean? Oh, with the satin.
Satin, smooth.
Yeah, it is smoother. So I finished this hat, and then the other thing is my Prismatic sweater. This is hot off my needles. Hot. Can you help me, babe?
Yeah.
Did you want to close the blinds there so you don't get blown out?
I might lose some more light then.
Well, I think we're,
it's okay. I'm just...
Okay. So,
I'll move over.
This is the sweater, the final finished sweater. And so this was the first marker from Whitney Marie Anderson I put on when I first showed it. Then this was the one from the last podcast. And since then, I've finished both arms, and I mark my increases with stitch markers. So when you work on it after you finish that, then it has like almost a little song. And it's like a cheer for the sleeves, cheering you on.
Yeah.
But I ran out of yarn. Did I tell you this?
I think I heard you talking about it last night.
Yeah, that I was afraid I was going to run out of yarn. I did run out of yarn.
Mm-hmm.
And I was casting off the last like 60 stitches when I ran out of yarn. And I did the contrast colors for the bind off on that last part. So at this point, I could have, instead of just attaching some new yarn, I could have taken out the previous row, which is like 300 some stitches to take out, and then did it again. Mm-hmm. But like I was saying about my life, you know, the time in my life, I don't want to spend my life undoing things that took time for me to do that I feel I can live with. And I can definitely live with this. This is such a cute little,
time is precious,
little boom pop under on the ribbing. And it's just in the very back, like right on the side where it attaches. So, and I'll hold it up a little more so you can see. I used both contrast colors here. And I'll probably be wearing this in my next video. This yarn is from Ava at Seismic Dye Works. Let me see the whole thing. The gray color is called Party All Night. It's gray, but then it has some neon moments in it. So you can see it has some yellow and like mainly purple kind of colors. And then the other two colors, the like very colorful one that I spun up is called Escape. And that's roving from Seismic that I spun and knit into this sweater. And then the yellow contrast is called Not So Mellow Yellow. And that was a mohair that I held double. What do you think, Faye?
I love this sweater.
I love this too.
Yeah. I like the contrast between the Party All Night and the neon lights.
Not So Mellow Yellow.
Oh, well, Not So Mellow Yellow. It's like neon.
I too like the contrast. So the color Escape, if you buy it, you know, on yarn, it does have quite a bit of yellow in it. When I was spinning it, I took the yellow out of the fiber just to give it more contrast because I knew it was going to be paired with the yellow. So it's Escape roving minus the yellow. And I have a feeling This is gonna bloom really nicely. Like I said, it hasn't been blocked. I'll probably wear it a few times before I will wet block it. But this is a non-superwash base. And after this sweater, I probably don't need another fingering weight sweater for some time. Probably can hold off on doing another one of those. Because the yarn is so small, very time consuming.
Yeah.
This was absolutely worth it. This was a design, sorry if I haven't said a zillion times before about this design. This design was inspired by the stained glass windows in our house. And we've been in this house just a little under a year at the time of filming this. Today is February 27th.
April will be a year.
2022. And yeah, in April will be a year. Yeah. So
April 1st, 2022.
Good people over at Wool & Pine saw that I had posted a beautiful picture of my stained glass window, and they decided to design this sweater based on the stained glass window. So this will be a really special piece, you know, in my wardrobe that will always remind me of those first few months in our new home.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
So that is all the finished things that I have. For some works, actually that's not all the finished things I have. I had some spinning that I did. So I've been showing you guys the Advent spin from Black Smoke Fibers, and these are the final skeins of yarn that I spun. So this was all one, you know, bobbin of yarn, but I just split it into 3 because the colors kind of like, they pick who they want to be with. Like, I don't know how this guy ended up totally green. This wasn't planned at all. This was just, you know, it just was like, I'm green. Green finds green for whatever reason. So this one is especially beautiful. And I probably won't be using these all together in the same project. This one is definitely like a blue, red, orange situation. They are all like worsted or probably bulky weight. So, and then this one was like blue, purple, pink. I really like how they turned out. I'm excited to see the other half of this fiber carded into bats. I still haven't sent it to iron. I really need to get on top of that. It's like also mailing things is like a big mental burden, like a actual, it's not an actual burden, but the thought of doing it is a burden. Do you have stuff like that?
I got you. Yeah, I mean, I have that letter on my desk. It's been there for like 5 days. I should have put it in the mailbox already.
Yeah, so I need to just do it, you know, and the faster I do it, like the faster I'm going to have the fiber back so that I can actually spin it. The other thing I spun was another skein of this beautiful yarn. This is the second one that I spun. It's called Good Vibes. And this was part of a Kickstarter campaign that I worked on with Brooke from Fully Spun. I already had one spun, and this was the second one that I spun for a sweater. So you can see this has some peachy kind of colors in it. So I'm planning to make the Great Gingham sweater by Jessie Maed, and this will be the contrast color I use. And Brooke is working on some peach kind of color yarn as the main color. So hopefully I have enough. I'm gonna run this through my, did I show you that little apparatus I have that like counts the yards? So it's like a little, it doesn't have any adapters. It's not electronic at all. But you essentially run the yarn through there on the way from the Swift to the ball winder. So you put it in between, and it has a little gear on it that turns, and that counts how much yarn you have. So when you're a hand spinner, you need something like that to really be able to gauge how much yarn you have, especially for a project like a sweater where you will run out if you don't have enough. So I'm gonna run this through that and just make sure I have enough before I try and make that sweater. If I don't have enough, I'll probably make the hat version of the pattern still with that same yarn and then come up with something else. So these are just gorgeous. So if you bought yarn from this collaboration, it's coming this spring, and if you bought, so you could buy roving, like what I use to handspin, or you could also buy already milled, like marled yarn, if you don't want to handspin it yourself, also in this same color. So I'll be back with some more updates about that, but this was the second skein. This was also the first time that I ever tried to match my same gauge, I guess, or my same weight on a spin that wasn't, you know, right after each other. And these are both like sport weight, and they look pretty much identical. I weighed them both and they're like 200 grams together. So from what I've seen online, the people who are making this, it would likely, from the size I want to make, which would probably be like the 36 or 38 bust size, you need 200 grams. So hopefully I'm right in the range.
Well, we can check the gauge of the knitting needle.
Yes.
With this thing.
I could. So I already found this while he was...
That's so cute.
While he was just piddling.
Looking through her junk drawer.
He was piddling. Okay, don't get me started on my junk drawer. Okay. There's many junk drawers. Okay, and I grew up in a household that was...
You got 3 now, I think.
Had abundant
junk drawers.
Now this is, I'll show it to you since he brought it out. This cool. Is a little sweater needle gauge, and it's by A Needle Runs Through It. I have worked with, oh, I'm sorry. Her name is not coming to me right now, but she was a very nice lady, and this came with some other kind of fiber thing I was buying, and I keep it in my junk drawer, but it's not junk. I keep it, you gonna try it out? So I can easily tell what size needles I'm working on, but its designated place is to live in the junk drawer.
It's 2.
This is a size 2, yeah, or 2.5 millimeters. So it does say the US size and the millimeter size, which is excellent. A lot of my needles don't have the size on them, or it's worn off from so much use.
Millimeters.
So a tool like this is very useful to have. Alrighty, that I think is all the stuff I was making. I want to show you a few things that have arrived. I didn't buy anything this time, but this is also a funny story. So I love...
Well, it's daylight.
Hawaii, we are. Well, there's not that much more, so we're going to be in and out. If you're not here for the acquisitions, then thank you for coming. It was very nice to hang out with you. If you want to see the acquisitions and you want to hear the story, which you definitely want to hear because this is like a fiber person's dream, then stick around. So I bought the Hawaii Bazaar Experience Grand Bazaar box. This was offered, I think, in December, and it was supposed to be shipped in January, but then it was like a little bit late, so it didn't actually get shipped until February, I think. So when it comes, I'm like, great, can't wait. And there's 2 of them. And I'm like, that's weird. Mm-hmm. I definitely only bought 1, but I open it up and I'm like, wow, this is excellent. So this is the yarn, and this one is called Gardenias on the Veranda. It's a white kind of base with a swirl of mint, like a burnt orange, and some violet speckling here. Very beautiful.
Yeah, I love that.
And the other color was Beirut by Night, and this is a purple tonal, almost variegated with some purple kisses. It's more than a speckle. I would say it's a kiss. I was very happy with this yarn. I was like, this is great. Love it. The other things that also came with it, and you could choose whether or not you wanted a soap or a candle. I chose the soap in the cedarwood and spruce. I got this for Artie because I knew he would like that scent.
Soap.
It also came with a amethyst moon little tea prison and some spices, which how come more people don't put spices? This is a cardamom kowa.
Awesome.
Now, I'm not an Arabic speaker, so forgive me if I'm getting this wrong, okay? I'm doing my best. But it has a recipe for making coffee. So it's a cardamom coffee.
What?
And yeah, isn't that
We
cool?
make that.
So it even shows the coffee on the back. Here, you hold that. This is za'atar. Now, I've seen this on the Great British Baking Show. This people will put on bread. So I'm planning to make a bread and put some of this on there in the dough.
That's awesome.
Okay, take that one. And then the last one is zahurat herbal tea. And this, I guess, goes in the little tea prison. And the last thing in this box, and I haven't gotten to the best part of this story. The last thing is a beautiful coaster.
Wow.
So it's like a geometric kind of design with the coaster. And I opened that up. Yes, all ours.
And the tea cage.
See how
or
he
whatever you
got
call
a
it.
mouse in his pocket? It's all ours. Yes, it's all ours. Yeah, the tea prison, yes. So.
That's so great.
And then I also liked that there was no plastic involved. I am all about eliminating plastics in my life. Yarn people, we have to be shepherds of this planet. We have to make sure that we're not polluting it, and there doesn't have to be plastic involved between me and getting beautiful yarn from you. So if you're a person who sells yarn or sends yarn to people, pass on the plastic. So I'll just show you. Corinne has put just some paper and a, little fluff. This is some paper crinklies, and that was it. So this came in a mailer, and that was it. Awesome.
Pretty
So
great.
where this story gets strange is that 2 of them show up, and I'm like, oh, that's weird. Corinne must have just sent me another one. I had no way to explain it until like 2 days later. My friend Aldi says, "Did you get your birthday gift?" My birthday is December 27th. You haven't heard this story?
No.
My birthday is December 27th. And I said, no, I didn't get it. And she said, well, it said it was delivered. And I said, oh, it's the Hawari Bazaar Grand Bazaar box. And she was like, yeah, you had said you like Hawari Bazaar, so I got that for you. But then it was like a little bit late, so I wasn't, I wanted to make sure you got it. And I was like, that explains it. Why I ended up with so much.
So I got another bar of soap.
Awesome. No, so the one that Allie got, Allie chose the candle.
Oh, okay.
So here, open
Soy
up the candle
candle?
and see if you like it. Yes, it's soy.
That smells really good. Jasmine sandalwood.
Yeah. And what's the company? It's on this, I think. Von Weiding? Is that German? Revenue for rescues. Burn for a cause. So this part of the proceeds goes to animal shelters. So that's incredible. So
That's
Corinne
really great.
curated a really nice experience with this. And I get to experience it twice. Thanks to my friend Allie.
Fantastic.
So I actually have 2 of these. And I can't think of, a better way to give a gift than to give something that I already like so much I bought it for myself. Like, wow, you were, and Allie, girl, if you watching.
Allie got you like that.
I appreciate you. And I'm going to make something beautiful with this yarn. The other great thing about this yarn is I probably would kind of gravitate towards this purple, but I wouldn't go and pick this out. But I love this.
I love that too.
I really like this yarn a lot. Now, these aren't my typical colors. I don't know that I have typical colors, really. I've been like on a neon kick for a little bit, and finally I'm branching out. So I'm gonna try and use some of this in a future project that's coming up kind of quick. And I think that's the very last thing. Oh, I do want to also show the yarn for my next cast on. And I talked about the sheep camp sweater quite a while ago. And this is what it looks like. This is the sheep camp sweater. And I'm gonna be casting this on as my next sweater cast on. And let me just grab the yarn. So the contrast color, can you show that? Is gonna be this yarn that I spun from Sweet Georgia.
Really does look like a cake.
Don't eat my yarn. So this was a spinning sampler that I bought from Sweet Georgia. It was 6 floofs of BFL. And this was my first BFL spin. So I knew this was going to be special. Oh, Spot came to say hi, guys. And I'm going to pair that with this beautiful aquatic pearl from the String of Pearls collection. And this is from Seismic yarn. This wasn't sponsored. I did pay my own money for this yarn. So this is gonna be the main color, like the main body, and then this will be the contrast. How good are those gonna look together? The sun is really messing me up a little bit.
Yeah.
And for this, I just included a little tag for myself to say what it was. Sweet Georgia. Oh, I must have run this through my counter, and this is 394 yards over 146 grams. So that's just perfect for like a sport weight, and this is a sport weight also. Now, and we're losing light already, so we're gonna wrap this up, but I had one last thing, the snacks segment that a viewer from the last podcast was like, bring the snacks back, and I'm totally down for the snacks.
Like, is that for me?
So it sounds a lot like a cat treat bag, but it's not a cat treat bag. So these are upcycled cookies. I bought these at my local Aldi's. These are made from the pulp left over from oat milk.
Oh.
So it's supposed to be something that, something that keeps, food from being wasted. And I'm down with that. I'm all about the greenery. So we haven't tried these. The flavor, go away. The flavor is vanilla oat milk. Okay, you try it first.
Yeah.
This is a cookie. This is a cookie. It's not a cat treat.
I'm good.
I'll let you take a look at that. So if you have an Aldi by you, look for these. These were kind of in that random stuff aisle. If you shop at Aldi, you know what I'm talking about. Like the one that will have like car tires, and it'll also have like baby wipes and all the stuff that like...
Car tires?
They just have it's the random stuff aisle.
Yeah. Yeah, like patio furniture.
Yeah. A lot of patio furniture. Sometimes garden stuff. I would buy these.
Yeah, matter of fact.
I don't know that they really need to label them as like upcycled. It definitely made me buy them though, knowing it was upcycled. But they just taste like cookies. Like a crunchy vanilla cookie. Not really like strong oat, but
it's like
flavor.
What are those dipping cookies? You know what I'm talking about? Like butter cookie or whatever it's called, right?
I don't know.
Tea biscuit?
Like the Dunkaroos or whatever?
No. It's a tea biscuit or I forgot the name.
Yeah, these would be good with like a coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of coffee, I have a coffee right here. So I'm thinking that's everything. I would definitely suggest these. I would buy these again.
No, we didn't.
Thank you.
We didn't have any water today.
I brought you a water.
Where's my water?
Right there.
Oh.
I brought you a water.
cool.
So I had my coffee. I didn't want you drinking my coffee. That's why I brought you a water. So, I don't have any other things on my needles to show right now. There are some things like back over there that I need to kind of dig into, but that's all we got for today. Thank you for sticking with us. If you are new here, I appreciate you staying and watching the episode. If you would like to, now here goes my cat. Now we made it through almost the whole episode with nobody walking in front of the camera.
It wasn't Bernie this time.
Yeah, it wasn't Bernie, it was Spot.
Yeah.
So I was saying thank you for tuning in and hanging out with us for another episode of the Darcidoesit podcast. Please give this video a thumbs up if you like this content. If you would like for me to do a review on any of the things that I showed that I finished, please leave me a comment saying, you know, what pattern you'd like for me to review. I am hoping to do more of those to kind of give people a better idea of, you know, how much yardage they'll need and what kind of yarn goes well with projects. So leave me a comment and say what I should review and what information you would like me to include. If you haven't seen my last pattern review on the Meadowland sweater, you can check that out on my channel. I think that's it. Episode 8. Another one.
Episode 8.
All right. We'll hopefully be back in 2 weeks. And subscribe if you enjoyed this content and you would like to see more of it. That's all she wrote. Great job, babe.
Mwah.